Hey everyone, welcome back to Papa's Workshop. Over the past several weeks, I've been helping my grandson remodel a home that he had purchased. In today's video, what I'm doing is taking the closet doors, which were literally missing. They were sliding bypass type doors, and we're going to remove the hardware and put in the French doors. I also have a couple of doors that were missing in the utility room completely, but the hinge mortise was already in the door frame itself. So we're going to have to match that to the door slabs that we put in here. So today we're going to concentrate on the hinges, the placement, and being able to match it up to be able to install it into an existing frame. Here's a completed project with both doors installed, the knobs in place, and everything's working correctly. Now this formerly was a bypass type sliding door that we replaced with this new look. Cutting the actual mortise is not a difficult task. You need a simple jig, something like this, and of course on the router itself you're going to need a straight bit. In my case I'm using a 1/2 inch straight bit with the bushing that attaches to the router. Once you have this set up, it's relatively easy to be able to cut the mortise. The real key is the actual placement of where the mortise goes. As a general rule, if you will measure from the top of the door down to the top of the hinge, that should be 7 inches. But you have to be aware of the fact that that is not the case in all situations. There are times when you look at a door frame that has a mortise already in it that may not follow that rule, and it may not be on that 7-inch line. Then as far as the hinges on the bottom of the door, you need to measure from the bottom of the door up 11 inches to the top of the hinge for that placement there. Again, this is a basic guideline, but you're not going to find this true in all situations. As far as the placement of the knobs themselves, typically if you will measure from the bottom of the door up 36 inches, that is where you should place the doorknob itself. When I'm putting the hinges on the top of the door, I usually measure down 7 inches, and that's where this will go. On the bottom of the door, I'll measure up 11 inches to be able to cut out this mortise. One additional consideration that you must take in consideration is that the jig that you use to cut out the mortises must match the hinge design. And when you go to the hardware store, you're going to find a number of different style hinges, and you must make sure that that matches. And you can see as I place the hinge into the mortise, it does match. Take a scratch awl and make sure that you mark the center of the space for the hole. Now this is very important, and you're going to notice that middle hole that I just marked is actually a little bit off center. The screws that we're going to be using are a self-tapping screw that actually comes with this particular hinge, and then I can just simply slip that into the spot where I had used the scratch awl and then drill it in place. Now I normally do the top and the bottom screws first, and here's why. As I screw in this second one, which that little pilot hole was off center, you can see that hinge shift. That's not a good thing. So I'm going to actually take that screw back out and slide the hinge back in place and put that bottom screw in. You want to make sure that your hinges are on the door straight, because that will cause all types of problems with squeaky door hinges, and the door itself may bind. So this is an important step that I don't want you to skip. The bottom is done the same way. This is the hinge, the top of the hinge pin right here. So that's going to go toward the top of the door. So that will sit right there. Again, we'll mark the center and give us a little pilot hole to work with. And that takes care of the hinges for this door. Now these doors are going to be for a closet, so the only thing that I really need is a ball catch at the top of the door. So I'm going to install that next. Now I just picked up these at the hardware store, and this is the ball catch that I'm going to be using. And the only thing that you need to do is drill a 7/8 inch hole into the bottom of this, and then we'll tap it in. And that's going to be the little ball catch, and it will have a little keeper that we'll place on the door jamb at the job site. This is a real simple setup that I have to be able to hold the doors on the workbench so I can easily work with it. Now that the hinges are in place and I'm ready to install the ball catch, all I need to do is just literally flip this door over and put it back into my little stand. And the stand consists of a 2x4 at one end, and then on the other end, the vise holds the door in place. And it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure, and this system works extremely well to be able to support the door so that I can easily work with it. From the edge of the door, the ball catch goes 3 inches down. So that gets marked right there. Then I'll mark the center. In the United States, the interior doors in a home are 1 3/8 of an inch. Now that can be a little bit difficult to be able to divide in half. So for my purpose, I typically will use the millimeters. So I can measure the thickness of the door in millimeters and easily divide that in half. So if you consider it, 1 3/8 of an inch door is actually about 35 millimeters. Divide that by 2, 17 millimeters is close enough to the center. And I'm using a 7/8 inch paddle bit to drill the hole. Now please keep in mind that when you purchase the ball catch, they may be of a different diameter. This one required a 7/8 inch hole. The one that you purchase at your local hardware store may require a different size hole. So please remember to check, read the instructions before you drill this hole. To install the ball catch, all you really need to do is just tap it in place. But you want to protect that ball itself and that little mechanism. You don't want to damage that. So you can slip this into the hole just a little bit to get it started, and then use a socket of the correct size to be able to tap on that outside with the hammer to be able to tap this ball catch in place. That way you won't damage the ball and you won't damage the threads that are connected to that mechanism. The first door is completed. To start the second door, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Measuring down from the top, I'm going to mark 7 inches. That's where I want the placement of the hinge. Now on the jig that I use, I have to back up 1 5/8 of an inch for the actual alignment place for the jig itself. The jig that you use may be different. So if you look at my jig, from this point right here out to this edge is 1 5/8 of an inch. So with that secondary mark for the actual placement of the jig, it'll give me the perfect alignment for that hinge to be placed 7 inches down from the top. Then I'll use the awl, mark the center point, and then I'll be able to screw in 2 little small screws to be able to hold this jig in place. It's time now to use the router. You want to start the router where the bit is in the center of the jig, and you can use a climbing type motion to be able to go down easily into the wood. And then from there, go around the outer perimeter of this jig to be able to cut all of the material away, and then I follow up by clearing out the center portion with all the remaining debris that need to be cut away. And it's a very quick and easy step to be able to follow. At this point, the jig is no longer necessary. We'll just take these screws out and this mortise will be complete. The only thing that's left to do is just to blow off the sawdust. We'll get this cleaned up and we'll be able to install the hinge. The hinge installation is just the way we did it before. Make sure that this top pin is facing the top of the door. You want to make sure that you don't put the hinge in upside down. And surprisingly enough, that's actually easy to be able to do. So just double check yourself before you put that hinge in. And then from there, I'm going to do the same thing as I showed you earlier. I'm going to put the top screw in first, secure that, and then I'll move over and put in the bottom screw and make sure that that hinge is aligned correctly in that mortise. And I'll follow up with the third screw in that center hole. And that shows you just how quick and easy it is to be able to put these hinges in the door and get it ready to be able to take to the job site. I'll repeat this process now on the bottom hinge, and then we'll flip this door over and we'll put the ball catch in. You can see that the hole is drilled. It's time to install the ball catch, and you can push it in place down to that little notch that you see on each side of the ball catch. Then I'll take that socket, place it over the ball catch, and then using the hammer, tap it in place. At this point, all of the work is done in the shop. It's time to take all of these doors over to the house to be able to get them installed. Because these frames are already existing in the house, we have to be able to get the doors to match the frame. Then the first thing, the frame itself is not 48 inches wide and it's not 80 inches tall. So we have to be able to cut this door to fit the opening. The first thing I want to do is cut the length of the door. The opening on this frame was 79¼ inches. I have an 80-inch door, plus I want to have about a ½ inch gap at the bottom of the door to the floor. So once I have that measured, then I can put this jig in place, and this allows me to be able to use the circular saw to be able to cut a perfect straight line across the bottom of the door. The next step is I take a utility knife and score right along the edge of the jig. I want to be able to score the door itself, because that way when I'm using a circular saw, it'll give me a nice clean cut and it's not going to tear up that bottom edge of the door. This is an important step that you don't want to forget. Another method that I have shown in previous videos is to use blue tape. You can actually put the blue tape down onto the door itself, and then that will help prevent the tear out when you're using a circular saw to cut the door. This jig actually creates the same thing as if you had a track saw, and it's something that I have been using for years, long before the track saws were ever invented. And this method is a tried and true method that I have used, and it's a very inexpensive way to be able to get very accurate cuts. The final step that I like to do is to take a block plane and bevel the edge of this door that I had just cut. If you look at a brand new door, you'll notice that all of the edges are beveled. So you want to do the same thing after you cut the bottom of the door. This makes it where it will receive paint easier. It'll protect the door from future damage just by normal wear and tear, because those sharp edges would have a tendency to be able to tear out a little bit. And by just beveling the edge ever so slightly, it makes all the difference in the world. Finally, we can take the door into the home and get it installed into the door frame itself. A number of people have asked, do I actually use the VEVOR folding work table on the job site? Well, the short answer is yes, absolutely I do. This is a very valuable tool to be able to hold the door both onto the surface as well as in this manner, so that I can adjust and work with the hinges. To install the mortise onto the door frame, you do it exactly the same way. You want to have about 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch across the top between the door frame and the door. So when you measure from the top of the frame down to the top of the hinge, you're going to measure and take that into account. Then you'll set up the jig and do it exactly the same way. Once that mortise is cut, I actually install that top hinge. Then I come down to the bottom hinge and mark it with a pencil line, and you can see that there. With that pencil line in place, that gives me the exact location for that hinge. There's no guesswork and there's no error in measurements. Then I can mortise out that opening and have a perfect placement for the hinge itself. I also mentioned that this opening was 47½ inches. The doors themselves were 48 inches. So I actually had to trim the length of the doors off as well, but I did not catch that on the camera. The process was simply taking the measurement and cutting the doors on the table saw. I think the end result turned out beautiful. This is what you want it to be able to look like in the end. This next door that we added in the utility room was done in a similar manner. Now this door is a brand new door in the existing frame, and if you'll notice up top the mortises were there. It's a little bit different hinge design, but it still works the same way. We just take the measurements and we had to transfer the measurements over to the door in this case, and we did have to add the doorknob and drill a hole, but that's a whole nother video. I want to thank everybody for watching this video today. I hope you was able to learn something. Being able to install the doors in an existing frame is not that difficult. It just takes a little bit of patience, a little bit of time to be able to get accurate measurements, and then everything else will fall into place. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, by all means, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe right down below. Those two things really help a lot with the algorithms. And by the way, if you leave me a comment, tell me your experiences, or tell me what type of videos that you would like to be able to see in the future. That helps me also to be able to give you the content that you would like to have, and it also helps the algorithms also. And I hope that you did stick around and watch to the very end of the video. So I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in a future video, and I thank you for coming and spending time with me in the shop and on the job site. So for now, bye-bye. I'll see you real soon in the next video.